Goeiemorgen, good morning to my Capitanian friends away. Guys and girls, lovely morning starting off at about 13 degrees down here in Bay of Plenty in Tauranga. My name is Viljoen and I'm in the North Island. Myself, I am a financial advisor and I help people with all their financial needs. Financial needs include stuff such as life cover, disability, even mortgages, all the way down to business loans. So whatever you need to, get hold of me. But this morning, we're going to talk about the one thing that do get us around. We're going to talk about cars. And to help us with that, as I'm not a car specialist, we've got Estienne Simon. Estienne, good morning. Estienne, where do I fall out with Estienne? Probably missing Estienne somewhere in my life. Estienne, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Jan. Thanks. Good, and yourself?
And you are the pro guy on cars. Tell us why.
You reckon?
That's what they tell me.
I think cars is all I know. I've been doing it my whole life. So came from a background in South Africa where I was a car salesman for quite a few years. And I also, when we moved over and I came over on a partnership visa, I went to work for Mercedes-Benz here in Auckland for about 3 months until I started my own business. I basically as a learning school for me.
All right. So, yeah. Coming from South Africa, what is the difference between cars in South Africa and cars in New Zealand?
Price, I think, is the main difference. You wouldn't believe it, but cars are actually cheaper in New Zealand, even if you convert it. I'm talking second-hand cars.
Yeah.
Even if you convert it directly into Rand, it's also cheaper. And I think that's because of all the Japanese imports that we get in New Zealand. And it's an open market here. So anyone can basically import a car. And there's a lot of dealers who also import cars. So, yes, it makes it quite a lot cheaper and, better for the public, I guess. In New
basically
Zealand.
Telling me it's a heck of a lot of competition out there.
There's quite a lot of competition, but obviously you need to look at who you do business with very closely.
So that I saw. So what makes you different, except being a South African? Point one. And I always think it's a good thing to be a South African. We know what people on the other side has been through, so it gives us a bit of empathy to work with other South Africans. But what makes you different than the next guy?
Yes, I think obviously the South African thing, and if there's Afrikaans people, I can speak in Afrikaans. People are always impressed if they can buy a car in Afrikaans in a different country.
Jy kan die taal praat.
But also I'm quite a big perfectionist, so every car that I get in, I even if it's not due for a service, I would send it in, get inspections done on the car, make sure that it's up to standard, and I don't sell cars that's been in an accident. Okay. Also, very big focus, especially when selling on to South Africans, because I know how fussy South Africans are with conditions on cars and stuff. And what I do is I normally send videos to my customers where I do basically a presentation of the car, so that when you buy it basically blindly from South Africa, that you know exactly what you're getting, and I try to be very critical on explaining the condition of the car, so that people are happy or they know what they're buying. Openness and transparentness is probably the most important in this business, and unfortunately, used car salespeople doesn't have such a good reputation in general. So trying to change.
Doesn't have any reputation. the question I think people would want to know is what cars is a good car to buy and what cars to run away from? Because it's a bit different in New Zealand than in South Africa.
Yes, you wouldn't believe it, but I've experienced that actually some cars that used to be very good cars in South Africa, reliability-wise, there's actually cars that breaks this side and the other way around. I think it's got to do with the climate and stuff. I don't know. I've got no idea. But yeah, I think it comes down to your taste, your personal taste, obviously. If you're gonna buy a premium car like a Mercedes or a BMW, your maintenance costs would obviously be more because you're buying a premium car. For people who would start off, from fresh in New Zealand, I always say go for a safe option. Japanese, any Japanese brand, because that is popular throughout the whole world, for that matter, and it's very reliable and economical. But you don't have to really be scared of European cars, although your maintenance costs will be a bit more if you go towards them. I guess every brand has got one or two cars that's a problem model, if I can call it.
The Friday car.
Yes. So yeah, just do some research and talk to the experts.
All right, what car will keep its resale value the best? Well, let me say brand, perhaps.
Yeah. I think Japanese, Toyota, obviously, forerunner in the whole world. Mazda, very popular in New Zealand as well, as for SUVs and smaller cars. Even Suzuki. And one brand that is actually very popular in New Zealand that's not popular in South Africa is Subaru, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's interesting, quite interesting. I love this Subarus here.
And I know that South Africans, the first car 90% of South Africans ask me for is a Golf. And something I can honestly say, if you want to Golf, just buy a manual Golf and not an auto.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the VW Golfs and the Polos are one car. The auto DSG gearbox doesn't last in New Zealand for some reason. Okay. And that's definitely something to look out to, because I know South Africans love their Golfs. I had a customer here last night, South African guy with a Golf as well.
It's quite interesting. I mean, vehicles that is underrated in South Africa, like the Mazdas. Mazda's quite popular here, and Mazda's actually quite a good car. I always thought that it was a good car in South Africa as well, but it's totally underrated, but not here.
Yes, it's actually very popular here, especially the smaller cars, and then the SUVs that they make, like the CX range.
Okay.
And very good cars as well, for good reason.
And they last. I've seen a lot of South Africans with Mazda. So
yes, obviously, like I said, there is your problem models here and there. I've seen Mazda bring. If you look at the little bit older age cars that normally falls in the right budget for people. There's an engine that they've got, which is a 2.3 turbo, and that is not a good engine. You get that in the 7 and in a couple of them, and that turbo almost guarantee that it will break. But furthermore, apart from that, very good, especially the smaller cars like the Mazda 2 or Demio, as you call it, for the import is called. They are extremely popular and very reliable as well.
As we get questions, I'm going to pop them up like that. So this is a question. What about CR-V Honda?
Very good car.
I wasn't impressed at all. I don't know why. It just
in South Africa, I know that the Hondas are average, not super popular, but over here they're quite popular and very reliable as well. I've sold a few of them, and I'm a big fan of Honda in general.
Okay.
So I think that's a great car, and you wouldn't go wrong with that.
That was my first car that I bought when I came to New Zealand. It was Honda CR-V. I actually sold it about a year later. I just could never get used to the vehicle. It was just something, I don't know what, it wasn't a bad car. Let me be quite frank, it wasn't a bad car, but I just could never get my hands around that. And thereafter I bought the Toyota Lexus, but the Harrier range, the hybrid.
Yes, yes.
And I had a lot of problems with the hybrid engine in that vehicle.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah.
Batteries
and then I actually bought the most uncommon car that South Africans will never buy, SsangYong Rexton.
Oh, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad, I guess.
It's not a bad car. It actually works very well this side. So.
Yes, yeah. I'm surprised that you didn't like the CR-V, though.
Yeah, I just don't know. I think it was a bit of an older one. What was it, about a 2002 or something model? So it could be that it was plasticky, or was that one that had the little you got one with a little table in the back.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And I was actually under the impression this is the all-wheel drive, or that was what the salesman told me. But at the end of the day, it wasn't all-wheel drive. So
no goodness.
Yeah, well.
Watch out, there's still crooks in New Zealand as well.
There is. So, all right. So you said Honda CR-V is not a bad vehicle to buy in New Zealand.
No, I think it's pretty good, especially the little bit newer models. From I think 2007 upwards.
Okay.
Is good. The older ones are also very reliable, but not as nice to drive.
So your car of choice, what do you drive?
I'm a big Mercedes fan.
Really?
I used to work for Mercedes for 7 or 8 years, and I've got a big love for the brand. But so I've got an old little Mercedes that's my runaround.
Okay.
I like that, but not everyone's cup of tea, you know. You need to know the guys who can fix them and look after them.
That was the one thing. I was a Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz guy in South Africa, and when I arrived in New Zealand, they told me, don't buy Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen, any German things. You struggle with parts. Is that so?
Jan, yeah, I know that's the mindset that people have. I find it very easy to get parts. Because you can get aftermarket parts. I'm not talking original parts. Original parts is obviously extremely expensive.
That's right.
And you'll only put that in the car if it's still under warranty. But if you go for aftermarket parts and even second-hand parts, there's a lot of companies in New Zealand that sells refurbished second-hand parts with a warranty on them. And that's already parts. So if you look at those factors, then parts are not too expensive. You should just look for cars that doesn't have obvious features that can break. That's very expensive to fix. Like, for example, a Mercedes ML. The older MLs tend, the air suspension in the vehicle tend to give problems. If you can find an ML without air suspension, then you sort it. You know, you've got a nice car. You just need to look at the car properly, and also for new people coming over, book a AA inspection on the car. You know, AA is very big in New Zealand. They do mobile inspections. So if you see a car, or if you're shopping online for a car, you can book the AA online. They go out to the dealer and go inspect the car for you.
That's right.
And they are quite strict. I don't always like them so much.
It's a good. Can I say it's a good guideline to see if a car is good or bad. I mean, I've got somebody who said that they have got their first Honda Ballard, has 450,000 kilometers, still driving, never had problems. The SUV already have 230,000 kilometers. Well, that is a good suggestion that the Honda Ballard or the Hondas aren't that bad at all. So
yes, very good cars.
A question off the topic: how is the motorsport, drifting, drags, rally, etc.? Would you know anything about that?
No, Jan, that's not really my cup of tea. Sorry, I sell original cars. not. I'm not really into rallies and drags and that sort of thing. I know it happens around, but I'm not very clued up with that. No, sorry.
Listen, the Kiwis are crazy about their old cars. Why?
Yes.
I've never saw that before in any country, except here.
The classics.
The classics. The big thing.
Yeah, I think it's like that all over the world, actually. I know some people in South Africa who's also big collectors, and I think the Kiwis, I don't know, I find them not too fussy about what they buy, actually, to be honest. Okay. They are easy customers usually. You're catching me off guard. Yeah, I never realized the Kiwis was so into classics that much.
I don't know if I'm only seeing it much more here, but there's very few. Even my neighbors, if you look into their garages, there at the back under tops, there's something big.
Like they're big motorheads, eh?
Yeah. So
and very, especially the technical people, they like work with their hands, you know. So.
Yeah. I mean, quite a lot of stuff. If you drive around, you see tons of these old cars just going. I don't know if they've got rallies or they're much more into that.
Yes, yeah. I think that's like the clubs, probably like the classic club, which is quite common.
But those things are expensive, eh?
Very expensive.
South Africans haven't got an idea what the old cars are worth.
No.
You told me yesterday that you're doing a unique service for South Africans coming from South Africa, that you go around and you source them a vehicle if they need a specific vehicle, even while they are back in South Africa. Tell us a bit more about that.
So I focus a lot on the South African market, and what I do is if someone gets in touch with me, I've actually got forms on my website that you can fill in. Submit to me, and I go around and look for the right car, send some options through to you. Like I said earlier, the videos where I present the car to you, honest opinion. You know, I usually get a third-party inspection done on it as well if the customer needs some more peace of mind. You know. And I then deliver the car at the airport upon their arrival. So it's nice. You can buy a car. We can even arrange finance for you before you arrive, and you can have your car once you land at the airport. And simple as that.
Interesting question there. Do second-hand vehicles have to be inspected for CO2 emissions in New Zealand, and at what kilometers or frequency?
No, that's not. We only have a warrant of fitness, which is like South Africans roadworthy, which you have to do once a year. For vehicles older than 10 years, it's once every 6 months. And your registration, which is basically your license, and that's it. You don't. And for diesel vehicles, you've got road user charges. Tax that you have to pay.
That's quite expensive, man.
Yes, it's about. I've seen it's about $800 or $850 for about 10,000 kilometers, depending on the car. Right. But remember that to buy diesel is cheaper. So diesel is about $1.60, $1.50 a liter, where petrol is $2 plus. So that makes up, and at the end it balances out, and also keep in mind that a diesel car is in general more efficient than a petrol car. So you have to punch your numbers.
Yeah, I did that number as the current car that I'm driving is a diesel, and it actually cost me basically very much the same as a petrol vehicle. I just think that it's got a bit more power at the end of the day because it's a diesel, but it's not cheaper to drive a diesel in New Zealand than it was much cheaper to drive a diesel in South Africa, but it's not like that here.
Yes. A diesel car's maintenance is obviously a bit more than a petrol. But like I say, they are more fuel efficient and you've got the torque. So especially people who does caravan towing and stuff like that, they prefer diesels. But yeah, petrol's way more popular in New Zealand than diesel. Other way around in South Africa.
And how many manual cars have you seen in New Zealand?
Oh,
that's a scarce thing, actually.
Very scarce. Yeah, I actually had a little Polo. I think it's still on my website, a little grey Polo, which is a manual. And when I saw that, I just jumped for it. And it was loaded and I sold it within about a day. Just because the manuals are so scarce. I think it's because people like auto more and because of the traffic.
That's right.
People just prefer auto over here. But so if you get a nice manual vehicle and you target that niche market, there's still people who prefer manual. So if you do get one in, it sells really quick.
Because that's very, very scarce. Really, very scarce. So.
Very scarce, very scarce. In all brands, even in small cars, startup cars, they also auto.
They also auto.
Yeah,
everything is auto down here. So
yes.
So either the Japanese, where they import the cars from, can't drive and they make everything auto, or it's just the new trend that's going forward. So
yes, I'm also not sure about it, but yeah, autos. I think all the cars I've got in stock at the moment, they are all auto.
Okay. Estienne, you only sell cars. You don't sell boats. You don't sell caravans, motorbikes, jet skis, these type of things.
No, not at this stage. What I also do is we actually buy cars off the public as well. So I've got a form on my website where you can fill in your car's details if you want to sell it.
Okay.
And we get back to you with the estimated price if that's offer for the car. If you're happy with that, then we'll do an inspection and finalize and do immediate payment on the car.
Okay.
I will look at buying boats and motorbikes in as well if I do come across them, but that's not my speciality.
All right. Give me your top 5 vehicles, or top 5 best vehicles you can think of.
It depends who you are. Are you 50 years old or 20 years old?
I don't understand. Let's say an average 55-year-old person.
But for me, being a family man, I like Toyota is always obviously a safe buy. Something like the RAV, very good car, very reliable. Even the CRV.
Yeah.
Then
these are all cars that get back in South Africa, so they know what a RAV and a CRV is.
Yes.
But you do get brands that nobody knows about, eh?
Yeah, but you should be careful of all the random brands. Stick to what you know, I always say. But yeah, smaller cars, Mazda Demios are really good. The Nissans are quite popular. Even the Nissan, like the Nissan Juke, and all of that. The Micra is called the Nissan Note over here. Also quite a little car. Yeah, there's quite a lot of them, and like I say, I'm actually a premium brand fan, but oh, see that question there.
Yeah, interesting question.
Yeah, so yeah, it depends. Japanese brands, I think, is always safe to say.
So the most popular, is it petrol or is it diesel?
Petrol is definitely most popular. You'll see diesel when you get to bigger SUVs and utes or bakkies, as they call it in South Africa. Usually diesel and vans and stuff, but unfortunately, smaller cars now.
That's
What
right.
is the process of buying a car? That's so easy. In New Zealand, me as a dealer, if I sell you a car, I can either email you the sale agreement, you can sign it just there electronically, and the transfer of ownership is literally just a few clicks of a button on my laptop, and the car's over on your name. So very, very easy. Just need to get in touch, and you'll be guided through the process.
It's really easy. That I can.
Yes, I've got, like, my cars are all ready for delivery. So if a customer comes and they like the car, I give it to them immediately. They drive away with it. It's that easy.
Other question I was thinking about. How would I know if I buy a car from a private person that they don't owe the bank or any other institution still money on this vehicle?
Yes, that's a very important question, because the banks load a security on the car here. Like in South Africa, we have a document called a NATIS, or a registration document.
That's right.
Which makes you the owner of the car. So over here, you can buy a car. Anyone can put the car over on their name. It's like a funny sort of business. But if you get a car, you can get a report generated on the vehicle, which is either on MotorWeb or Car Jam websites, where you can pay. That's a report that you can buy once off, and they will give you the whole history of the car, including if there's money owed on the vehicle, if it's been a previous write-off, is it an import from Japan, or was it registered as a new vehicle in New Zealand? So that report will tell you everything, including the WAF history of a used vehicle. And if someone owes money.
And you can basically also see on Car Jam if that vehicle is stolen or not. So it's quite easy. Just type in the vehicle registration number. It brings up everything.
Yes, Car Jam actually gives you quite good information for free. But if you want some more detailed information, then you can buy a report. I can't remember. I think it's $10 or something. It's not too bad. Yes.
All right. Any last words you want to tell the people?
I hope that the lockdown is going to end soon in South Africa, and that we will have some immigrants coming over again soon. I really feel for the people back there, especially the people who was planning on coming over. Now, that's our customers there. So, and our people. So
that's our people. We need our people back here. Estienne, thank you very much for being with us this morning. I'll chat to you a bit later again.
Thank you, Jan. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Bye. Cheers. Bye.
Guys, that was Estienne all the way from Auckland. He's your local car dealer down there. There's a lot of car dealers, but not a lot of them in Afrikaans and English. So Estienne is that guy that should you need help with your vehicle buy in New Zealand, he's one of the guys that I do trust that you can go to. A few things. We nearly finished this morning, so thanks to everybody who listened. Thanks to everybody who asked some questions down here. I saw there came a few questions in even a lot later. I'll ask Estienne to answer a few of these questions as he goes on. He will also a bit later just drop his details for you guys if anybody wants to contact him to get more information on a car or a quotation, or if you need a specific car, get hold of him and he will probably be able to source that to you. To those that bride with us over the weekend, we did a Bride King and Bride Queen, and thanks to, I think it was 5 winners in those categories, we'll still be sending your certificates to you. On the other side, the talent competition that we're running between South Africa and New Zealand, or in South Africa and New Zealand, is not a competition between the two countries. But that talent competition is picking up quite a big momentum. I saw quite a few nice dance videos on there as well. So a few people singing down there. So Yeah. If you haven't written or if you haven't posted your video, feel free to do that as soon as possible. Guys and girls, that's me all the way from Welcome Bay. Today's a lovely morning. If I look outside the window, few scattered clouds around there, but it's about 14, 15 degrees outside. And on Thursday, from Thursday, we are allowed to go fishing. So Thursday morning, we're down to lockdown 2, as they call it here. It's different than South Africa. Lockdown 2 allows us to drive around a bit, go camping, do a lot of basic things. We just need to keep our social distancing. And under lockdown 2, the bars aren't open yet. So if your bar's a restaurant, that will probably be open, but the bar area where people can't be seated won't be open. So that is just a few small changes that they've made now. So we're more free, we're more available to go all around, and that's that. Guys and girls, from me, Jan Viljoen, all the way from Welcome Bay, North Island, Tauranga. Thank you very much, and we'll speak again on Thursday morning. See you all.